This video will tell you a story about our trip to Tanzania in July 2018. Our trip consisted of two main parts, safari in mainland Tanzania and island of Zanzibar. Tanzania is a country in eastern Africa, just below the equator, near the African Great Lakes. The park we have visited was Tanzania National Park, which is the sixth largest national park in Tanzania. The park is famous for its high density of elephants and baobab trees. That is the first ostrich we have seen, and of course it wasn't too long until we saw a big family of elephants. Elephants are the largest land animals on Earth. Of course, there's two species of elephants, Indian and African elephant, with African elephants are the largest of the two species. And of course, baby elephants are the cutest creatures on Earth. Look at this one. And zebras, we have seen zebras in all 5 national parks in big group of animals. They just roaming back and forth. Interesting fact actually about zebras that specialists consider them black horses with white stripes. Go figure. During Great Migration, about 250,000 zebras migrating through Tanzania. Animals are so used to see tourists in those national parks, so they pay a little attention to us. During rain season, number of animals increasing dramatically. We were in Tanzania actually during dry season, but we still were able to see the standard animals such as elephants, antelopes, gazelles, wildebeest, and what have you. This big elephant we have seen in second day of our safari near Lake Manyara. The elephants are just such a gracious animals. And as I have already mentioned, animals are so used to see a tourist in the cars that they pay little to none attention to us unless you threaten them or get out from the vehicle or do something stupid. This one was just eating that bush for about 20 minutes or so until he got a little bit upset and irritated with us and decided to leave. Lake Manyara National Park is known for its flamingos during wet season. We were there during dry season, so we saw 5 flamingos. However, we saw baboons, a lot of baboons. Baboons are very much social animals, so they live in big groups of 50 or 60, sometimes 80 animals, usually dominated by a large male. And again, like any other animals in the park, you know, they care less about humans in the vehicle. So during baboon crossing, we have to stop our car, and then they would sit next to your car and then enjoy their cuddling. The park covers area of 130 square miles and home of many other animals other than monkeys and elephants. We were lucky to see giraffes. Giraffes usually don't come close to the tourists, and we were enjoying them from the distance. In this park we actually saw lions hunting wildebeest, but this was so far in the distance we couldn't film it. Also, the next morning we saw hyenas just, you know, crossing the street. And then of course hippos. Who doesn't like hippos? This is like a big cow living in a lake. What interesting is hippos actually nocturnal animals. During nighttime they go and eat a lot. They eat like 100 pounds of grass. So after spending a day in Lake Manyara, we started our journey to Serengeti National Park. During our travel, we stopped often for lunch. Weird creatures like this one will come in and just hanging out with you. I try to feed one, but I get yelled by our guide and reminding us that they are wild animals. Don't look like wild animals to me. The Serengeti National Park is one of the biggest parks in the world. It's famous for its annual animal migration, where over 1.5 million wildebeest and 250,000 zebras, as I said before, traveling through the park. This park is famous that you can see all the big five here. So here you see African buffaloes. There's about 53,000 of them just in this park alone. The other animals from the big five, of course, lion, leopard, bush elephant, and black rhino. And we have seen all of them actually during our travel, during the 5 days of safari. We also were lucky to see this cheetah finishing up eating the Thompson gazelle. So it was eating it for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. We saw it first, took a pictures, recorded a video, and when saw lions, came back and she was still eating. And then yes, we have seen lions. This is actually how we saw first lions. They were just sleeping. So we parked next to them and they didn't flinch, they didn't move. So we stayed there for about 20 minutes and then went back to our cheetah. And then of course we saw the Lion King himself just laying there sleeping. Danny was so happy. After spending 2 nights in Serengeti, we drove to Ngorongoro crater, which is part of the Ngorongoro conservation area. The crater has a very unique ecosystem, and some animals actually trapped in there in this 20-mile radius crater and cannot escape it. There are others like zebras and wildebeest, so they come to the crater and they leave the crater. The crater actually has the highest concentration of wild animals per square mile on Earth. And here is one of my favorite animals, wildebeest. The crater, as I said, not too big, it's about 100 square miles, but it's home of many animals, from black rhinos to buffaloes to hippos. There's 7,000 wildebeest, there's 4,000 zebras there, lions, water bugs, crocodiles, even impalas, wild dogs, and even leopards. We actually were so lucky to see 3 female lions hunting African buffalo, a baby buffalo. We were so excited we actually didn't record the whole hunt, but the hunt was amazing. For all your baby buffalo lovers, they did not kill the baby and the lions went home hungry. Before going to Africa, we were a little bit anxious, and because we didn't know what to expect from Africa. We've never been to Africa before, but what we have seen is nothing but beautiful nature and hospitable people who are always trying to help you find the places, trying to help you with advice. It's one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been. Some facts about Tanzania. Tanzania is the 26th largest country in the world by population, the home of about 55 million people. Over 100 different languages are spoken in Tanzania, with 2 main languages, Swahili and English. Although Tanzania very rich with natural resources, the Tanzanian economy is heavily based on agriculture, with 85% people involved in agricultural business. Although tourist industry brings so much money to Tanzania, it's not evenly distributed among the entire population. After 5 days of safari, we were back to Arusha, from where we flew to island of Zanzibar. Zanzibar is a beautiful island located just east of the coast of Tanzania and home of about 1.3 million people. Zanzibar's main industries are spices, raffia, and tourism. In our village, the locals were mostly involved in fishing and tourist industry, and the philosophy of Hakuna Matata. But of course, all good things come to the end, and it was time for us to fly back to Germany.